Good day, everyone. This is your instructor, Miss Corabel Joy Avila. Today, I'm going to share to you about the topic entitled Storing and Sharing Information Using the Google Drive. I know some of you are already familiar and using the Google Drive, but there are still things that you need to know, especially to those who are first timers or first time users. And for those who already know about the setting up of the access level in Google Drive, you may skip this topic. However, if you want to know how to set up the file to offline, then you may continue to watch this video. Okay, let's get started. So what will you learn in this topic? Well, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to understand the key concepts of the Google Drive. And you will also learn to create, administer, and share your files, including the folders. Third, you will learn how to collaborate with your classmates using the Google formatted files. Because there are times that I'll be giving you some activities where it requires some pairing and you will be doing some collaboration. So it's a good practice that you will be using the Google Drive or the Google Docs to share your files. And lastly, it's a good way that you should be able to apply the smart sharing practices. And if you learn how to set up the settings in the Google Drive, then you are safe to share your files. So, what are the contents of this topic? Of course, the overview of the Google Drive. So, it's important for you to learn what is exactly Google Drive. And second, you should know how to set up and install it. But I know some of you have downloaded the Google Drive already, and that part, I guess, I will no longer cover on how to install the Google Drive since I already asked you to install it in advance. Okay. Second, we will be discussing on how to share files and the folders and what are the things that you should learn about the security matters when it comes to sharing files as well as the folders. Lastly, the user rules and the access levels. So it's important for you to know how to set up the access levels every time that you share your files to your friends, to your classmates, and of course to me as your instructor. So I can access your files. You should know how to set the settings of your files as well as your folder, because there are times that I might be asking you to grant me an access on your file, so you should be able to identify how to set it up. Okay, let's get started by defining what is a Google Drive. Google Drive is actually like you can do the sharing of your files. What are those files? Like the Microsoft Word files, spreadsheet files like Excel, or the PowerPoint files, or any files that you want to share, including the videos as well. And of course, the PDF files, some common word processing files. You can also upload using a mobile phone or your laptop or your PC. Google Drive is actually a cloud storage service. When we are talking about cloud storage, meaning it is online, which is sponsored by the Google, and it is what we call an online backup service. And the good thing is Google offers free 15 gigabytes of storage if you are using a personal account in Gmail. Just like my case, since I'm only using personal account for setting up our Google Classroom as well as here in the Google Drive, then I only got 15 gigabytes. Unless if I want to upgrade, then I had to pay for the monthly. I guess that is $9 for 100 gigabytes. I'm not sure. I still have to check with the new pricing of the Google. Okay. So what are the other things that Google can do? Of course, when you have your Google Drive installed on your phone, then you can access it anywhere and you can access your files anytime wherever you are. Well, the advantage of this is that, example, you will be out of town and I'll be asking you, okay, you submit now your assignment. I want you to do your assignment right now. And then if you have your phone with you, then you can just access your Google Drive and you have your files there, stored your files. Then all you need to do, you just open your files in the Google Drive and share the link and submit it to me and put it in the Google Classroom. Easy as that. And of course, once you have the Google Drive, you can actually share easily. And once you have the access, then you can also share a folder. Example, if you have many files, then you can just upload it in a one folder and then you share the folder right away. Okay, what is next? Once you have the Google Drive, of course, you can store your files safely because Google is a big company and they're actually reliable when it comes to security. So it is secure to have your files on the Google Drive cloud. You can upload, as you noticed here in the images, we have here the Word, the PDFs, the Excel, and you can also upload the music or the videos safely. The last good thing which is good about the Google Drive is that you can synchronize your files. What does it mean? Once that you have created your account in the Google, and you uploaded your files online, and then you will also install your Google Drive in your mobile phone or in your desktop or your laptop. So you can just drag your file in your laptop, and if you're using a mobile phone, you can also store your pictures there, and you can synchronize it. When the word synchronize, it means whatever you have uploaded on your phone, automatically it can be viewed as well in your laptop or in your desktop, as well as an online browser. So that is what we call synchronization. Okay? And of course, for now, you will not be able to visualize it because you're not seeing it, how it looks like. But I'll be showing that to you through the demo or hands-on demo in the later part. But there are things that you need to consider when using the Google Drive. Number one, when you share a file with an intended party, when we're talking about an intended party, so these are the person which is not authorized to receive your files. So be careful when sharing a file. Second, when you set up an insecure permissions, example, when we are talking about insecure permissions like sharing it as an editor, what will happen if you set as an editor, then it will make your file overwritten by someone else. So it's not that when you share, then you share it. make sure that you know what are the permission settings and you understand the rules and the levels when it comes to sharing. And third, when it is also risky when you are in an internet cafe, then you forgot to log out your Gmail and you open your files. So there are times when somebody might access your Google Drive unintentionally or intentionally. So they will open up your files. Example, if you forgot to log out using your Gmail. So every time that you log in, which is not your device, example, if you are using to a computer which is not yours, so make sure that you have to log it out so they will not be able to access your files, especially in your Google Drive. So these are the risks that you will encounter if you are not careful with your Gmail account. And number 4, when you upload the document, so which is not appropriate for Google Drive, example, you have this photos which is for private consumption only. It means not intended to be shared online, so better not to upload those kind of pictures or any confidential files that you don't want to share with. It's better not to put it in the Google Drive. So be smart in using the Google Drive. And then lastly, a document you shared with another party, there is a tendency that it can be shared to someone else. So there is a case when, example, I will share you an exam and I will put it in a Word and upload it in the Google Drive and I will share it to you, and then you will also share it to others which is not part of this class. So that is illegal. Don't do that. Okay? That is not good. So let's move in now. Okay, when you create a files or folder in the Google, actually it is set as a private file by default. Just like this. In the right side, I have shared a particular folder, and as you notice, I'm the owner. There's an owner here, and then there is a settings here which is copy link, and there is also here change. So the change part, that is where I change it to either editor, commenter, or just a viewer. Later I will show it to you using the hands-on demo. And then actually only the owner can access the document. So by default, the files or the folders that you have created on your Google Drive is actually private by default, meaning it is not shareable unless you will change the settings. Okay, just like this, you have here the option share with people and groups. So you can type here the email address, or you can copy the link. Once you copy the link, before you copy the link, you need to consider to check the settings. Either you want your receiver to be viewer only, it means they can view your files, but they could not edit. And if you set the user as editor, then they can edit your files. So be careful in using the editor option. Okay, the private folder by default it is also a private, meaning when you create a folder on the Google Drive, by default it is also private. It means only you can see it. And with the use of the folder, you can actually upload multiple files, and you can also create many folders inside a folder. But of course, for now, you will not be able to understand it, but once that you will see the hands-on demo, then you will be able to visualize it, what I'm talking about. Okay, and a private folder can also contain both private and shared files and subfolders. As you noticed here, there are two folders. The name is lectures and the other one is the classroom. Can you see the difference? Well, on the right side, which is the lectures, there is no icon. The icon, which is a person icon, this one, just like in the classroom, there is an icon here. It means this folder, I have set it up to be shared to others, meaning it is publicly shared, but not exactly as publicly, because there are other folders inside this classroom folder which are not included to be shared. It means either one folder is only being shared and the others are not. So the lecture here is actually private folder. It means no one can see it except me because I'm the owner. So that's the indication if you are sharing a folder. Okay. So let's understand what is exactly a shared files or folders. So when you enable the sharing, by default, the document is shared privately. So when we're talking about shared privately, meaning only those with the link, just like if you can remember when I asked you to answer the survey form, the pre-survey form. So that is an example of shared privately, means only those with the link can access the file. For those who don't have the link, then they could not access it. And by default, the users who are added as editors of the document can add additional people or change the permission of the document. So when you add an additional people, you are required to have the email account of them so you can add them and they can also edit your files and change the permission of the document. And same with the shared folders. So the shared folders, as I mentioned earlier, that it is private by default. So the files or folders within the shared folders inherit the permissions of the shared parent folder. What does it mean by inherit permissions? If the main folder is being shared as editor, it means that the one who get the access as an editor can also do the same, can change the name of the folder, can upload files on that folder, can change the color of the folder, or share also the folders to others. Okay, and then next is new files and folders can be added or created within the shared folder, where you can also change the permission settings. So the individual file and the subfolder permissions within the shared folder can be later customized manually. It means manually you can rename the folder, can edit the color, can transfer the folder to another folder. So that is what you can do using a shared folder. Okay, by default, the the Google Drive, there are actually 4 access levels, which is the owner, the editor, the commenter, and the viewer. So here, example, I had the files and then I shared it. First thing that I'm going to, before I copy this link, I need to change the settings here first. So once I change that, either a viewer, commenter, or editor. So if you set it an editor, it means that the user, the one who will receive the file, or the one who you give your link, can edit the document, can add, remove users by default, but then he could not delete the document, but he can download or make a copy of the file. So that is the role of the editor. But then if you will select the commenter here, then if the one who receives your file can only read it, but can add a comment, but can also download and make a copy of your file. But if you select the viewer, the one which has a check, well, your receiver can only read and of course can make a download and make a copy of the file. So these are the things that you need to consider.